things that you've tried that have worked in the past?
Well, we do timeouts, and those have been useful, I'd say 70% of the time. I try redirecting them a lot. I try kind of lowering my voice to kind of show them that I'm serious and get their attention, and that works sometimes. I guess what frustrates me is nothing works all the time. Pretty soon they get onto you about that, and then they shift it up, and it doesn't work anymore. So you have to, you're just constantly having to change it up in order to stay ahead of them, and I feel like I'm never ahead of them. They're always ahead of me.
So when you look at, you feel like you're never like at their level, like you can't keep up with them, but what are some strengths that you feel you've had as a mother in being able to keep up with them, like in yourself?
2 minutes. There was one time in particular when we had baby-proofed the whole house, and there were certain rooms that weren't baby-proof, but that was okay because those were behind closed doors. And my son learned how to reach up and pull the doorknob, which screwed up our whole plan, because then he could go into areas that weren't baby-proofed. And our doors aren't the kind that you can get those little baby-proof doorknob thing because they're latch doors, and we couldn't figure it out. And I thought there's got to be something to this doorknob, and there was a little tab, and I pushed it in, and I pulled the doorknob off, and it came off. And I literally looked at him, and this is going to sound terrible, but I was like, ha, you little fucker, Mama won. And I was dancing around the house, Mama smarter than you are, Mama smarter than you are. And it was the best moment of my life in raising them because I had outsmarted them. Just, he didn't understand little fucker. He was like 13 months or something at the time. But it felt so good because I had outsmarted him.
Okay, Ginger. So far I've heard a lot of things that you're dealing with. So let me just set things straight. Just let me know if I understand you right. You said that you have tried a lot of things because you want to be a good mother. Is that right?
Yes.
And you fear that even if you have tried a lot of things, you feel that you are still not a competent mother. Is that right?
Yes.
And you have given me a lot of examples on what you have tried to do to deal with the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just focus more on what is the real issue here. Is it you being a competent mother? Is it you? And a while ago you mentioned about outsmarting your kids.
Right.
So what is the real issue or the biggest challenge that you're facing here?
I think it's knowing how to keep my life sane with them while at the same time shaping them into good people. 2 minutes.
I really want to focus on how you said that it felt really good to outsmart your kids, and maybe do you feel like that might be where a lot of the pressure is, in that it sounds like in your work you always do really well, and you said you know what you're doing, and you know that you're smart in that area. So do you think maybe that's why it felt so good, because it was like you really were able to accomplish something, like you're like, wow, I'm smarter than you, and you know at work you are smarter than the people you're working around. You can control that?
Well, I wouldn't say that I'm smarter than the people I'm working around, but I would say I know what I'm doing. I know what works.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to be effective. Whereas with the kids, I thought I knew what worked until I had them.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, even through their infancy, I was pretty good at it. And then they hit toddler years, and now what I thought would work either doesn't work or doesn't work consistently. And that makes me feel completely out of control.
So it sounds like in school you get these skills and these training and you apply them and they work.
Yeah.
And as a parent, you got all these skills and training and you applied them and they didn't work. So you've lost some
Or they
control
work for a
there.
little while and then they stop working.
So what is maybe something positive that you can do to apply those skills to make them work positively? Is there something like a positive thing you can do with your kids to maybe try and like make the skills work for you?
I'm not sure what you mean.
I'm saying it wrong. I don't. How could you take the skills that you thought would work and maybe try and apply them. I guess they wouldn't work if they're not, I don't, how could you make it like a positive situation, the skills that you do have and that you're trying? Like, is there someone you can lean on or rely on to maybe feed off of, and have you help that work, like your husband or friends?
So you mean trying the skills in a different way?
Yeah.
So yeah, what are some other ways that you can try the skills that you have already kind of tailored to how it works for work? But how could you tailor those skills to make them work for your home life?
I don't know, because I know at work things go well when they're really well organized. At home, I think we're pretty well organized. I mean, our house is a disaster, but I mean, they're on a schedule. We know when they eat. We know when the nap is. We are pretty consistent in our discipline in terms of what happens when they break the rules and how many warnings they get and all of that. And I don't know, I guess part of it is this is just normal development, that they're going to push limits, and maybe we need to shift our perspective on what's normal is the only thing that I can think to change. Because I feel like we're doing everything that you're supposed to do, you know? And maybe if our perspective was different about what's normal, our patients, we would have more patience.
Okay, I noticed that you're saying we. So are you speaking for yourself? Have you and your husband discussed these things? When you say we're organized, we're this, we're that.
Yeah, I think of us as a team as we're working on it, and we do talk about how they kick our ass. I mean, just about every day they kick our ass. We try not to let them know that, but they do.
Can